Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urius Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons, and today we are talking about the spell Mass Cure Wounds. I have the Legacy version up right now. We're going to talk about the 2024 version, how we're going to compare and contrast these two together. We're going to see what the differences are, and I'm going to talk about some class and other spell combinations that you could use with this. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. Don't forget to share this video, and remember to hit that notification bell. All right, so back in the day, we gave this spell a B+. I didn't really think it was a 5th level spell. Probably should have been a 4th. Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds was a 1st level spell. And then we got Mass Cure Wounds, which went all the way up to 5th level. I just don't think it was the power level it should have been for the amount of healing that it was doing. So let's take a look here at the spell. Mass Cure Wounds is 5th level spell, takes 1 action, has a range of 60 feet. It's evocation, verbal and somatic components. And then you threw forth a wave of healing energy. You chose up to 6 creatures within a 30-foot radius centered on the point that you chose. And each one of them got 3d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs. You got to choose who you wanted. That's good. And then you could upcast it. It was usable by bards, clerics, druids, life domain clerics, community domain clerics, circle of wildfire druids. And we're not going to talk about the other paladins. And then artificer battlesmiths. The other paladins are off-brand types of things. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the new version. There it is right there. Mass Cure Wounds. And so this is the 2024 version. It is still a 5th level spell. It still takes 1 action, still range of 30 feet. I mean, everything is the same. There's two distinct changes that happen with this. First off, it's now an abjuration spell instead of an evocation spell. So does that make a difference? Kind of. If you happen to be a abjuration wizard combined with cleric, then that could actually mean something to you. So it'll heal once you cast this. It's 5th level, so it's pretty high, and it will actually heal up your force field as an abjuration wizard. Other than that, not really a lot of change. The biggest difference here is now it is healing 5d8 plus your spellcasting ability, where before it was 3d8. So that's about 13.5 points versus 20-some points, which is a big deal. So on average, 5d8 is what? That's 9, 18, 23 points versus 3d8, which is about 13 points. So on average, not too bad. And then you can upcast it again for another d8. So it does quite a bit more. It does on average 9 more points of healing per person. Still up to 6 creatures within a 30-foot radius than the previous spell. So now I think that this spell is actually at a level that is where it should be. So I'm going to give it an A- now. It is a necessary spell for the cleric's kit. That is a thing. So let's get into some other spell combinations that we can do with this as well. So the first spell I want to talk about is Beacon of Hope, and it is a 3rd level spell. It takes an action. It is a concentration spell, but Mass Cure Wounds is instant, so you don't have to worry about that. It is also School of Abjuration now, so just keep that in mind if you are combining Cleric with a Abjuration Wizard. It has a range of 30 feet. You choose any number of creatures within range. For the duration, each creature has advantage on Wisdom saving throws, Death saving throws, and regains a maximum number of hit points possible from any healing. So that 5d8 becomes 40 plus your wisdom modifier, which is a huge chunk of hit points. And for characters that can cast 5th level spells, you're going to be ninth level, and probably 45 hit points is a lot. That is a lot. Now you can actually increase that even more, and let's talk about that because there's some classes, particularly Cleric. This is so the Mass Cure Wounds is now usable by Bards, Clerics, Druids, and Life Domain Clerics, and then Circle of Wildfire, Druids. I'm not going to talk about Oath of the Harvest because that's an off-brand book. So let's talk about Clerics, and let's talk about the Life Domain Cleric. So a couple of important things about the Life Domain Cleric is they get Mass Cure Wounds on their list at 9th level, so they don't have to prepare it. They always have it. So that's a great thing. And then they get this Disciple of Life. Let's get rid of the arrow here. You get the Disciple of Life, and that is a very important ability that you should have. So when you cast a spell with a spell slot, when a spell you cast with a spell slot restores hit points to a creature, the creature regains additional hit points on the turn you cast the spell. So that was an important thing that they put in there, that thing that says on the turn that you cast the spell. So let's find our cursor here, and we're going to highlight that. There it is right there. The additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell slot's level. So that is 7 for Mass Cure Wounds. So now if you've got Beacon of Hope turned on, and you are a Life Domain Cleric, which has Disciple of Life, then you are going to be able to heal probably 52 points of damage at this point, which is for like your fighters and your barbarians, that's about half their hit points at the minimum level, which is 9th level that you can cast this. They might have around 100 hit points or pretty close to that, depending on what their constitution is. But an additional 7, and that's additional 7 per person. That's massive. And in addition, you don't have to prepare the spell because it's always prepared. You also get Blessed Healer. So when you cast the spell, the healing spells you cast on others heal you as well immediately after you cast a spell with a spell slot that restores hit points to one or more creatures other than yourself. You regain hit points equal to 2 plus the spell slot's level. So you also regain an additional 7 points. Now you could double that up, so you could include yourself in this spell. So you get 7 here, and then you get 7 here, and if you got Beacon of Hope up, you'll be getting the maximum. So that's a lot of healing. You could top yourself off pretty easily. Now the other thing that I want to talk about here is if you happen to have, now you'd have to be 12th level before you can start casting Cure Wounds, but if you were a Circle of the Stars Druid, so you only need 3 levels with this, and you get your Circle of your Stars, and as a bonus action you can spend one of your wild shapes, so you don't have that many at 3rd level, but you have enough, and you can form the Chalice. So a constellation of life-giving goblet appears on you whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points to a creature. That would be Mass Cure Wounds. You or another creature within 30 feet of you can regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Wisdom modifier, which at this point should be about 20, so a +5. So that's another. And if you got Beacon of Hope, well, Beacon of Hope, let's take a look again at Beacon of Hope here. So, and regains a maximum in hit points possible from any healing. So that means that the Chalice is maxed out. So if you got Beacon of Hope up and you're using this with Mass Cure Wounds, then it's another probably 13 points of healing. So a single person, a single creature could be getting somewhere in the realm of 60-some hit points of healing in one round. Now, the new Cleric, let's talk about the new Cleric. Core Cleric traits also has their little Divine Spark thing right down here. And with that, You can either restore hit points to a creature, and this is as a magic action. So it's not a bonus action. It's a magic action. It's, you'd be casting a spell, you wouldn't be doing this, but on the next turn, you can always do this as well. You either restore hit points to the creature equal to that total, or force the creature to make a saving throw. So if you're going to heal them, it's 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. If you got Beacon of Hope up, then this becomes 13 at that level. And actually, if you're 9th level, it becomes 21 points because it's 16 at that level. So you could see the utility in all of this. I think a Druid Cleric is a pretty awesome combination that they can use together, with doing all of this stuff. But back to Mass Cure Wounds. Again, we're giving this one an A-. Let's pull the arrow back over. We're giving this one an A- now because the healing level has increased enough to where it's actually very worth it to cast this spell. All right, that's what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody